Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a game designer at Freema Studio, and we are currently working on Oddworld Soulstorm, which is the latest in the Oddworld series. It's due out end of next year. And this also has the benefit of giving players different stories to tell about their journey through the game, and that's really something we want to explore more in our next game, Soulstorm. So I've talked about how Abe's Odyssey evolved into New and Tasty, but how are we following that thread forwards into Soulstorm? Well, first off, I should stress that despite a few recent stories, we have yet to announce a platform for Soulstorm. We've shown it to a few partners and friends of the company, but we're entirely focused on making the game as good as it can be. We're aware of the platforms we've got available to us, but we can't discuss it any further, unfortunately, at this point. What we can talk about, though, is the general direction that we're headed. So during New and Tasty, we were actively involved with the audience. The fans named the game, they named a lot of the trophies in the game, and so on. But with Soulstorm, we want to engage with the community even more. Our social channel is going to be a lot more active on Twitter and Facebook and such. We're going to be showing a lot more off during development. We're not quite at that stage yet, but it's very close. And we're going to be using opportunities like Twitch to get feedback as much as possible and listen to what everybody thinks of what we're making. But currently, all we've shown are a few black and white renders of Abe. That's going to change. We've been building up concept art, renders, work in progress videos, and even the odd kind of gag reel when things inevitably go wrong, which they always do. And speaking of which, of the humor, Oddworld's always tried to balance the humor and the serious messages. In New and Tasty, we did find that we can get a lot darker with our kind of tone and presentation, but we can't lose the element of humor because it's so integral to Abe's character, and it's an important contrast to that dark background. I described earlier how we increased the range of options available to players between Abe's Odyssey and New and Tasty. And without giving away too much at this stage, that's definitely something we want to continue into Oddworld Soulstorm and expand as much as we can. We really want to give players the tools to forge their own way through the game and come up with their own solutions to problems, and hopefully in ways that even we didn't think were possible. We're designing a lot of new systems and mechanics to allow that kind of stuff. So things like physics-based structures, more opportunities for solving problems on the fly, and more free-form traversal through dynamic, changing environments. It's going to be a lot less static than what's gone before. Really, we want players to be able to solve problems their own way, and we want them to have unique stories to tell as a result of that. And of course, we want them to be able to share those stories more easily. So the idea is we want to help make that a lot more easy for Twitch streamers and people who are sharing the game with others. We want to make it more enjoyable for people who are watching. And again, unfortunately, we can't really go into specifics just yet because we want to make sure that we can follow through on our promises. But we do listen to the fans, we listen to broadcasters in the community, and we're aware of the sort of things that people are asking for there. So in terms of that replayability, we want players to really be able to commit to their own play style. So if you want to save everyone in the game, and I do mean everyone, that's going to be possible now. And indeed, that ties in closely with Abe's own sentiments. But if you're more of a masochist and you want to kill everyone, and again, I mean everyone, you're going to be able to do that too. And really, that reflects on you, the player, Abe's guardian angel. And leading on from that, we want to represent the impact that our narrative is having on the wider society of Oddworld. The karma system from some of the older games is going to tie heavily into the sense of consequence and moral responsibility. And you're going to see Soulstorm having a much grander story on a more epic scale than what's come before. Ultimately, though, we want to keep surprising newcomers and long-term fans. And the way Oddworld continues to achieve this is with its classic hallmarks of stunning visual scale, solid gameplay, and memorable, humorous characters. But we want to surprise experienced fans as well and really make people shocked at what can happen, what an Oddworld game can be. We want to push the scale to an order of magnitude bigger than what you've seen before. We know there's a hunger from fans to see more of Abe, to find out what happens next, and to see what his future holds. And we hope that Soulstorm is going to be able to answer some of those burning questions for you.
You know, we remade New and Tasty because Abe's Odyssey was kind of the linchpin for most of Oddworld fans, so that's something that everybody knew. So when we did the New and Tasty remake, that was really why, because it was something that people identified with already. So it was kind of an easy sell for us. And we've carried on with Oddworld Soulstorm because we think that the fan base, Abe resonates with people as a character. People know Abe. He's probably our most famous character. So Soulstorm seemed like the logical place to go, was to follow his story. Soulstorm is a sequel to New and Tasty. So it's definitely not an Exodus remake. It's a brand new game, but it does have certain areas. If you're a big fan of Exodus, you'll know certain areas. There will be places in Soulstorm where you might look at it and go, that seems like it's this area from Exodus, but it won't be identical. It'll be completely different. And there will be places in Soulstorm which are completely different and new environments that you haven't seen yet. So we're kind of talking about Soulstorm as a sequel to Abe's Odyssey or New and Tasty because it's a much bigger game, but it touches on elements of Exodus. But Exodus was made in a hurry. It wasn't necessarily the game that the company wanted to make at the time because it was made in such a hurry. So the ideas that were there for Exodus are now going into Soulstorm and informing the way we make that brand new game.
Fair enough. So sort of Soulstorm's like what Exodus should have been?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
That's sort of answered my question as well, because I was going to ask if Soulstorm follows on from Exodus. But I am now wondering, does that sort of mean Exodus' story is void, or will it sort of be retold through Soulstorm?
It's kind of a retelling, yeah. Soulstorm does follow on directly from New and Tasty. I wouldn't say it's void, it still exists. It's just, this is a new telling of that story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Cool, thank you.